Hello, I would like to start with a short introduction. First of all, my name is Alma. Thanks everybody for coming, and you are more than welcome. I will start a brief introduction into this ThinkPub platform and initiative that we are having. So I come from a small publishing house called Beletrina from Slovenia. We are an NGO, but we do all sorts of activities. We publish around 60 titles per year. We run 2 international festivals. We run more than 100 events per year. And we also hold a subscription-based platform offering not only digital books, so ebooks and audiobooks, but also art cinema films, festival films, podcasts, and different media outlets. So I can say that we are a hardworking people. We enjoy to be creative. We enjoy the work we do. And we want to be innovative and keep pace with time. But often, and I must admit, we find ourselves a bit struggling to keep up the pace with the ever-changing and evolving realities that come and flash upon us. So this is why we decided that it's very necessary for us to connect, to find initiatives where we can discuss, share ideas, and where we can broaden our horizons and get to know practices that have been done all across Europe, but also to get to know all of the mistakes that different publishers, organizations, and individuals from the book industry have done so that we don't need to repeat them. And ThinkPub Initiatives has gathered 11 partners from all across Europe. We have many associated partners joining in. And in the next 2 years, we will be implementing a series of trainings all across Europe, where all of you will have the opportunity to join in and collaborate and obtain know-how, practical knowledge for your businesses to strive in the future. All of this wouldn't be possible without the great support of the European Commission and the partnership that was established with them. So I use this opportunity to invite the Deputy Director to join us and share a few insights and greetings with us, Ms. Alessandra Lucchetti, please.
Many thanks, Alma. Many thanks for this introduction. Does it work? Yes. Okay. So I'm really pleased for your words. Indeed, we are partners. We are partners. Your success is also our success. So we work together very closely. So my name is Alessandra Lucchetti. I'm the Deputy Director of the agency which is called Culture and Education Executive Agency in Brussels, which is a body entrusted by the European Commission to the management of the program. We manage a lot of programs, and I guess that you have heard, you know about Erasmus+, and of course we have Erasmus+, we have Citizen Equality, Rights and Values program, and we have the Creative Europe program, where this project has been funded under the action which is called Cooperation Action. So, as I said, we are very pleased, I'm very pleased, and we are very pleased with my colleagues, and we have here the project officer, meaning the person that in the agency is following the project almost on a daily basis, accompany the project to make sure that everything is done on time and perfectly, and also to check, the results. And indeed, as I said, this is something that we work very closely together, and I also have to congratulate you because it's not very easy to get funded. The competition is very high, and we are more and more faced to an increase in the number of proposals and all the calls that we manage. So it means that by having the same budget, probably the chances to be funded will be even more reduced. Anyway, we are here to listen to you, to your important project for the small and medium size publisher, and what the project can be done for you. I mean, for the small and medium publishers in the book sector, because indeed the publishers world is evolving, and we know that maybe different skills or additional skill and competencies are needed in different areas, in different fields. And in that respect, in particular for the small and medium companies, so in that respect, we will hear what the program can do in terms of innovation, in terms of helping the publisher, the small and medium publisher, to maintain and to even become more and more competitive. So I'm trust that this session will be very inspiring, and I would like indeed to thank you again for your positive and successful contribution to the program, which is even more important now that we are negotiating the future multi-financial framework, and in particular there has been the proposal of the Commission to continue, of course, the activities of the Creative Europe program under now the new and renovated Agora EU program, which would embed also part of the program, which is a CERP program on democracy. So the more we can demonstrate that the program, there is a need, and the program is successful with the result, with your result, the better would be for us in terms of having probably a bon budget. We have already an increase in the Commission proposal. There has been already an increase in the budget for the activities linked also to your areas, which means that indeed it has been recognized to be very important. And this is, again, I repeat, thank to you. So thank you very much for your attention. I'll pass the floor to Alma.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lucchetti. Thank you. So yes, as you heard, we are blessed to have this partnership, and hopefully we will be able to connect with all of you and everybody interested. So anybody who would like to participate, who would like to get to know more about ThinkPub, we will now have a conversation. Rediger Wischenbart will be moderating it, and Daniela and Micha and Luis will talk a bit more about ThinkPub and about the opportunities that it offers for you, and about everything that it will encompass you with for the future, for us to make a dialogue, to keep this dialogue, and to be stronger together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alma. My name is Rüdiger Wischenbart. I will be your host for that conversation. I'm one of the 12 partners of ThinkPub, but I instantly lead over to our three guests here. Daniela Seel, who is a poet and at the same time operates a small publishing house in Berlin, specialized in poetry, cookbooks. Miha Kovac is a professor for publishing studies at the University of Ljubljana in Slovenia, and a long-term partner for me for all kinds of reports about translation markets, about cultural diversity in the book business. And Luis Gonzalez is the head of the Fundación Germán Sánchez Ripieres in Madrid. That is a very significant, I would call it almost a platform for exchange, conversations and trainings on the book business, not only for people from Spain, but also for many in Latin America. One of their annual activities is a great publishing conference, Read Magin, very international, and together we will try to explore a very simple question. We see all the book business has become more complicated than ever. Think of all the different workflows, think of the different formats, think of the different audiences which are more and more segmented, and which a publisher, even a small publisher, needs to connect with directly, that is that is a challenge for everybody. And now ThinkPub says, well, perhaps it is a good idea to facilitate that learning about all these new things. And that is what we propose and what we want to address in our conversation. I would want to start here with Daniela and ask her a very practical question in her day-to-day business, assuming your working days are not longer than 16 hours per day. How can you fit all these things into what a small press can do? How do you handle this?
I think basically I'm doing one after the other, just concentration periods, so that for, let's say, 2 weeks, I only concentrate on editing, and then the next period I concentrate on press work, for example. But also we have a distribution who does the distributing. I'm only rarely concerned with stuff like that. And so, yeah. But also the publishing is only a small part of all the work I'm doing. So I'm a writer myself. You already said that. I'm a translator. I'm teaching at various universities, or I'm doing workshops. I'm on jury boards for literary competitions and stuff. So, and I also have a family. So this is like when you're a freelance literary worker, then yeah, you have to, or let's say there's the organizing part, like the managing part, and every day you need to check the basic stuff, but then you can decide, so this week I will concentrate on editing this book so that it can be ready for Frankfurt Book Fair or some other important event. And then, yeah, for 1 month or 2 months, I will concentrate on translating a translation project, or yeah, that's how I have to organize.
I tried to think when I listened to you to break down how many different people normally that would require what you were doing with one head, 2 arms, and one personality. So that's exactly the difference between big organizations, where you have a team for each of these activities: editing, translating, contacting and keeping a contact with authors, thinking about the audiences, etc., etc. Yeah? In my first question, and that is exactly what we see as a complexity and a big challenge. Now, what did change over the past 10 years or so in the operations of cookbooks? Really, how did the editorial process change? How did editorial and distribution meetings in your group change? What were the main transformations that you had to get to terms with?
I think they didn't change too much. So I founded cookbooks together with the art director Andreas Töpfer 22 years ago, and we always were digital. So we even from the start, we worked on digital workflows. So it was the first generation of being possible to being able to work with desktop publishing programs, and so the typesetting and everything always was digital. And so I think in the beginning more of the meetings with the authors were in person, and now much of it is more like Zooms or PDF, just back and forth, and we don't have these editing meetings for several days where we talk through each of the poems or all the questions that arise. There has we established several kinds of routines, especially with the authors with whom we have already published several books. Of course, it's different with new poets. When we have a first book, then there's much more in-person discussions and work. So I guess, and also from the very beginning, we work with the same distributor, and we have sales representatives, and we meet twice a year. And this has always been very digital from the beginning.
Beautiful for me because two things. Number one, if I look and think of any publishing company with revenues of less than 10 million euros, and I guess cookbooks is not bigger than that, very few can say, we have a digital workflow for 20 years. Yeah? And yet, that's what you need now, because otherwise, I guess you can't do your job. When you think about your peers, similar small presses, does everybody have that kind of an integrated digital workflow? And what is, for me, so interesting, as you describe it, it's really a workflow. It's not just, oh yes, I have a desktop publishing program. It's a workflow. So have you the impression that all your peers, similar small presses, have that kind of integrated workflow?
I think in the German language countries, they do. And so sometimes we still have compatibility problems between Windows and Apple stuff. So that if you have a Word doc and it goes for typesetting, then something will not be there like it should be, or still Windows cannot incorporate, or Word cannot incorporate pages and stuff like that. So there are some digital glitches still happening, but most of this, we have been around this for several years, and so we find solutions. And also with PDF, this is very universal, and also when in the press work, and everything has become much more digital, even with the catalogs. So we still do print catalogs, but most of the critics and journalists and even people in the festivals or the literary houses, they have changed to PDFs. They don't need the catalog in print anymore, so we don't do as many copies. And so, but we have been working with PDF for ages.
Miha Kovac, not only do you teach students on publishing competences, you are aware of small and medium-sized publishers in all of Southeast Europe. You are in the Baltics, in Lithuania regularly. How about these regions? Do the small presses over there have usually that kind of integrated digital workflows?
Well, it depends on the publishing house. But before I go more into detail into this, I would like to do a small historical comparison. Namely, we are now, artificial intelligence is now with us for about 4 years. So if we compare this with the World Wide Web, we are in the year 4 of World Wide Web, so we are somewhere in 1992. And in 1992, we didn't imagine that book business will give birth to the biggest invention in selling, namely Amazon. The World Book Shop came from book selling. It was an innovation of book business. Google actually is an innovation which came out from science citation indexes, which again is a kind of a publishing invention. So I believe that in next years a lot of things will change, and many changes I hope will come also from the things which we do in publishing. But what can we not do is that we cannot predict what will happen in the same way as in 1992 we couldn't predict Amazon, we couldn't predict Facebook, we couldn't predict TikTok, and we even couldn't predict ebook readers and the huge expansion of audiobooks. But what I believe, if this comparison is valid with World Wide Web, is that the things will happen enormously fast. And we will have to learn quickly and learn from each other. And here I believe that small companies are actually in an advantage in comparison to the big companies because they are more flexible. And I mean, this might sound stupid, but being a publisher in a small market, you are struggling with survival all the time. So you are more fit to adapt. So I believe that in these small markets, many innovations will come out. And from this point of view, I'm actually quite optimistic.
So we are back with bad old silly joke saying predictions are always very, and forecasts are always very, very complicated when they concern the future, right?
Yeah, well,
but
you know...
what does this mean for you as a teacher to teach students while you're fully aware that you cannot, because the students that you teach now will start working in a few years and will get really professional in about 10 years, and you say, oh, wait a moment, we teach you, but we have no clue about what we are going to do with you.
Well, unfortunately,
that's a paradox.
Yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, some things about human nature remain. So, and are quite eternal. I mean, look at Trump. I mean, these kind of guys were around forever in human history. So
yes, but practically speaking,
yeah.
How do you prepare a curriculum here?
Well, that's quite a tough question. But what I avoid when preparing a curriculum, what I avoid is to teach them technological tricks. Because the technological tricks which I know become outdated somewhere last year. So, but what I want to try to teach them is to understand the logic of marketing, for example. I try to understand them the logic, how, for example, bestsellers come into being. I try to teach them how human communication is important when trends happened. And from this point of view, I actually think that nothing hasn't changed so drastically, because humans are still the humans. And the tools which shape our minds and our behavior, they do change us, but basically many things stay the same. And what I find even more important for understanding in this context is that, again, you know, I'm doing predictions, but learning from the past, I would say that books as such are not endangered. As long as we have faith in human mind and in human focus and in the way how we transmit stories. I mean, in 2000s, there were huge rumors how ebooks and all other types of narrations will destroy book reading, but books are still here because we need something what distracts us from screens. So that's something what I also try to teach my students. They should not trust in hypes. Hypes come and go, and something what seems like totally revolutionary today might be forgotten tomorrow. So it's what really matters is to understand the logic behind human behavior and the logic behind marketing. And what I think is also important for them is to understand why reading matters.
I guess we are at a good moment to explain a little bit about that consortium that stands behind ThinkPub as a project. We have 12 partners, as I mentioned already, and they are very diverse. It includes, for instance, the Federation of European Publishers. So it's really tapping into publishing markets all across the continent. On the other hand, it includes the Limassol Book Fair in Cyprus and the Book Fair in Greece. Two tiny markets, but as we will see, we also have Luis with the big and very successful and robust Spanish language market. We also have members from Paris who are specialized in digital reading, etc., etc. And we have a few real technology companies in our ranks. So we draw on a very broad range of different expertise and of we can tap into observations at very diverse markets, including Spain. And Spain is in so far very interesting to look at because it's growing like no other market in Europe. You are a little bit the spoiled kids, I guess, Luis, in that you can say, yes, we really have growth, not just a little bit, which is eaten away by inflation. And it's a very huge market because it includes a large part of Latin America. And yet, there is not one market, but a very segmented array of different markets. And you started a publishing school now, not a university, but a practical school recently. What were your guiding ideas of organizing and setting up that publishing school?
Good question. Thanks. First of all, a political statement. We decided to join ThinkPub because we wanted to be in an European network. And for us, that is crucial because we think that we are living in a very particular European Union that is the most important region in the world in terms of creativity. And at the same time, we are the most important market in terms of content consumption. So we have to be strategic on that and with a very practical approach, answering your question. We want to, we know that, we have been training publishers, booksellers and such in Spain during the last almost 50 years. But I know that they are, how could I say, engaged, they are emotional, they want to do books, and we have to balance this approach, this emotional approach, with a very practical approach, focusing in things that small, medium-sized companies need in order to do a good competition with big companies from other continents and from other industries. Meaning that we have to help the professionals to be really stunning in marketing, really be on top of the managerial innovation skills, understanding the markets, understanding the reading dynamics, also to be able to leverage all the innovations in technology. Because during the previous answer by Miha, I thought, okay, that's very important because we are in another pivotal axial moment when technology again is going to challenge our ecosystem, and we don't know what is going to be the future. But I think that we know that we are humans, and humans have inspiration and intuition. Both things are something that technologies can't have. So from my perspective, the market is growing in Spain because There are different, as Rudiger mentioned, different dimensions. There is market for big groups. There is market for very small, medium-sized publishing houses that are exporting now. And that's why we are very keen on training small publishers to sell abroad, to export from Europe to Latin American countries, and one huge market for us, USA. Spanish-speaking readers is huge. Public libraries, the public libraries in USA are a huge market for us. And they have to be really efficient in terms of, I don't know, print on demand, designing books, taking into account the different cultural approaches in different audiences, be able to have different offerings to different markets.
Here it's good for me to share another aspect of ThinkPub. We are not creating, launching a new publishing school. Not at all. Clearly not. Why? We had a pilot project preceding ThinkPub that was called SIDT. It's about something like diversity in books, etc., where we started to organize online seminars of that kind. And we thought at first, we know that there are some shortcomings in the competencies that we might want to address, create nice little seminars, and then teach directly. It was during the pandemic, so via media, via online, we will teach that to everyone and make a good contribution. We were dead wrong, because that was a centralized approach, and that doesn't work in the cultural industries, because the differences between different markets are so big, and also the linguistic barrier. How many people in our target audience of professionals are fluent enough in English to follow an entire training in English? And why would they? Perhaps they want, because they have a local publishing training organization anyway. So why wouldn't they do it in Greek in Greece and in Portuguese in Portugal? So we understood we need to do a modularized, decentralized approach where we generate different materials and then use new technologies like transcription, like subtitling, etc., to localize this also in terms of language. And that is where I come back to you, Luis. When you have one big advantage, you are in the Spanish language, but otherwise, what are topics and what are the questions where your seminars that you already organized try to provide answers to?
Okay, we are organizing for the next week's an event on reading, and in November we will have a very big event on marketing. But I would like to identify one answer for your question. For instance, we will organize for the next year a seminar on International Book Fair of Guadalajara, and that is really local. That's very important for the Spanish.
Guadalajara in Mexico is the biggest Spanish language book fair.
That's right. So that's a huge opportunity for small publishers, medium publishers to sell out not only the books, but to meet distributors from Peru, Argentina, Chile, and such and such and such, and Mexico, of course, and Colombia. And also in order to sell rights. So a local publisher in Ecuador can publish a poetry book published in Spain. So this is a good example of what makes sense in Spain, but not in Slovenia. Guadalajara seminar. But at the same time, we share common interest in other fields. I don't know, new innovation in technologies, We will have also another small seminar during one day on marketing for small publishers, non-fiction publishers, sorry. So very specialized also seminars. So we have big events with 300 people attending the event and small specialized workshops with, let's say, 20 people.
Daniela, back to you. You said you teach a lot. Do you teach literature and poetry or also publishing?
Most of the time, it's creative writing related. I have been doing some classes also in publishing related stuff, but most is in the writing departments.
But I guess in creative writing, even more than in publishing, you need to react very much to what your students want. You cannot just say, oh, I know what I have to teach them, and they have to obey and scribble down the notes from what I said. How do you organize for you that dialogue to figure out what these students of creative writing need from you?
I have been in a constant exchange with young poets, young writers for the last decades. So through teaching, lots of the times we keep in touch and just continue the conversation about what to write, how to write, what makes a good poem, what are just like the big societal topics. So what are issues for young people? And so when I'm putting together the text for the readers for a seminar, I'm always trying to look also or both to like the political aspects of the text and of course the formal aspects. And so like in these days it's kind of easy to start writing, but the history of writing and the history of formal techniques and literary forms is not so easily accessible for many people who want to start writing. And so this in the last years this has been one of my main focuses, just to offer a range of forms of or the historical avant-gardes, and how also to just to foster critical thinking. And I think in nowadays the most important thing that needs to be continued or provided is being able to distinguish between truth and lie, and what is fake and what is real, and to work with that, and in fiction and non-fiction, and like how to use language. This is a core means and a core awareness. And so I also try to work with poetry and difficult poetry to foster this kind of critical thinking and awareness, so where propaganda can start and where faking things can start, and how to use it when you just read stuff, or when you work with AI techniques and stuff like that.
You see, in a way, many of these thoughts and approaches are very similar to what you need to learn and understand as a publisher. It's so easy, it's so simple today to produce a book. The questions start then when you have that book and you need an audience, you need to understand how that interacts, etc. And the second thing is, this is again a description of why we chose that decentralized intermediary approach for ThinkPub. We are not going to be the school. We provide learning materials to people who are the teachers in local contexts. Now, what will this be, or what is this already, in very practical terms? We chose to call it a library. A library is a database with competencies, with materials that you can use to answer questions, practical questions. So you will have at thinkpub.eu access to an array of different materials by experts and by practitioners. There will be recordings of seminars on all the major issues that you need to understand. There will be PowerPoint presentations, industry reports, in a well-organized setting so that you can use that, tap that, when you prepare a publishing course in a given language, in a given territory. That's the vision that we have. And starting now, you see already the first pieces that you can tap into, that you can retrieve from that library. And in the first quarter of next year, we will start adding massively more and more and more such elements. And today is for us the start into the operational phase of that project after 2 years of preparation. To conclude, because we are at the time where everybody is waiting for their beer or glass of wine, Miha, thank you. What do you think that you can get as a teacher out of that library for your students?
Well, what I hope that I will get is a kind of up-to-date information what is going on. There is a lot of interesting things going at book fairs, all kinds of different seminars, and I think it's a great idea to make all these materials available on one website. But I also hope and expect that there will be quite useful, first of all, I expect that there will be a lot of useful stuff, but besides this, I also hope and expect that there will be quite useful search tools which will help me to navigate and find the tools. But I think that this kind of learning tools is quite important and essential, and if properly done, it can really become useful for anybody who is doing any trainings in publishing.
Thank you so much, Daniela, Mia, and Luis. And to you, just one wish. Take a look and share the news. Thank you very much. We will stay here. We will be available for questions, and we will have a few moments for continuing the conversation. Thank you so much for your attention.